I think the Wild West is probably quite a good analogy. It does feel a little bit like that in terms of both in terms of kind of the risks, but also this is kind of an exploratory venture, and who knows, it might actually result in a and hopefully will result kind of at one point in kind of a well-functioning market. But I think probably from a regulatory point of view, I don't think there's going to be a big bang. I think there are probably going to be kind of a number of steps towards regulating cryptocurrency. I think the very, very first pillar has to be about preventing criminal activity. So money laundering will be front and center, and also fraud will be front and center. And from then you move on to consumer harm as well. And eventually, as I say, hopefully you come to a place where you have a well-functioning and well-regulated market. I'd point out, obviously, that does add costs to transacting in a market, and that's part of the kind of financial world that we're used to at the moment, is that there is a huge amount of regulation that's there to protect consumers, but it does also create costs for the businesses that transact in those markets. And that, as we know, is one of the things that crypto has been very kind of keen to promote itself as, is a low cost option.
Right. Laith, before we let you go, very quickly, what happens to Bitcoin if and when we see the Federal Reserve announce and begin to taper, policy normalizes?
I mean, that's a super interesting question, because that kind of assumes that people have bought Bitcoin in the absence of other assets, kind of maybe bonds, maybe gold, maybe cash, and I suspect that at the margins that is true. As interest rates rise, you would expect gold to fall because it doesn't pay any interest. So if you can get 3% interest on a government bond, you've got a cost to holding gold, and the same holds true for Bitcoin. But I think with Bitcoin, there's something else coming on as well. There's people who are basically hedging their bets about the future of digitalization, and it offers them a kind of chip on the table. And I think that will still stand, even though the Fed may be tightening in the months and years to come.